In 1972, a Uruguayan rugby team known as the Old Christians Club boarded Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 en route to Chile. However, the aircraft ended up crashing in the Andes, claiming the lives of more than a quarter of the passengers. Of the 45 people on the aircraft, 12 died in the crash or shortly thereafter, another 5 the following morning, and 1 more on the 8th day. This left 27 survivors, many of whom had broken legs. The survivors had few supplies and were helplessly camouflaged by the snow. After 11 days, they discovered that the search party had been called off. Left alone, the feeling of helplessness must have been heart-wrenching. One night, an avalanche killed 8 more. Luckily, 2 survivors made a 10-day trek across the mountain range and eventually got in contact with authorities. Finally, after a gut-wrenching 72 days on their own, the final 16 survivors were finally rescued on December 23, 1972. 26 days after the survivors were rescued, a group of men led by a priest went to the location of the crash to bury the deceased. They made the grisly discovery that the survivors stayed alive by eating the flesh of those who perished in the crash. On Friday night, September 8, 2017, 19-year-old Kanika Jenkins left her home around 11:30 p.m. to celebrate her new job at a nursing home with her friends. The party was on the 9th floor of the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Rosemont. She sends her final text message to her sister about 1:30 a.m. After partying in a room at the hotel, her mother received a call around 4:30 a.m. Saturday from Kanika's friends who said they couldn't find Kanika after the party. The family filed a missing persons report Saturday afternoon, and the staff began canvassing the hotel after the report was filed. Early Sunday morning, about 12:48 a.m. on September 10th, a hotel worker found Kanika in a walk-in freezer. She was found frozen solid, lying on the floor, which was littered with garbage and ice and portions of her body exposed. Police believe Kanika was drunk when she walked into the walk-in freezer and died inside. Autopsy results indicated Kanika died from hypothermia due to cold exposure in a walk-in freezer. Alcohol and a prescription drug are listed as contributing factors in her death. There was an abrasion to her right ankle and a purple contusion on her right leg, but no other sign of external or internal trauma. Her brain was swollen, but that is not indicative of a special cause of death. Surveillance video shows Kanika Jenkins leaving the elevator alone at 3:20 a.m., then struggling to maintain balance as she navigates the hallways until she reaches the vacant hotel kitchen and disappears around a corner, the last time she's seen alive. Though it doesn't capture her entering the walk-in freezer, video taken by what appears to be a motion-activated camera shows that no one else came into that area until her body was found. Kanika's mother believes she would have had trouble opening the heavy door if she was drunk, and would have realized she wasn't getting into an elevator or a hotel entrance. She also said many coolers have safety features that make it possible for someone to open them from the inside. Her cause of death remains under investigation. In 2015, paleontologists working in Russia revealed an incredible find: 2 beautifully preserved frozen cave lion cubs, the most complete remains of this species ever unearthed. The extinct 2 cubs were affectionately named Uyan and Dina after a river near the discovery site. They were several meters underground in Siberian permafrost deposits in the Uyandina River basin of the Yakutia Republic. The fossils there, which also include skeletal remains of other Ice Age favorites like woolly mammoths and steppe bison, are understood to be more than 30,000 years old. The ice that encapsulates the cubs has preserved incredible details, such as their tan yellow fur and their short ears and tails. Given their age at the time of death, the cubs' bodies were still growing rapidly. Their baby teeth hadn't even fully grown in yet and were still nestled within the gums. And just like in other baby lions, these cubs were so young their eyes hadn't opened yet. They are estimated to be between 1 and 2 weeks old. It appears the poor babies became fossilized after the collapse of their den. Like living lions, Mom may have tucked them away for safety, but some mishap led to a cave-in. Examination of the cubs' skeletons revealed fatal crushing of their skull and separation of neck vertebrae. Though it spelled obvious disaster for the animals, the cave-in also allowed their bodies to become so well preserved that scientists could even examine some of their internal organs. Back in 2013, while restoring one of the exploration huts in Antarctica, conservators of the New Zealand Antarctic Heritage Trust discovered a box that turned out to be a remarkable treasure. It contained 22 never-before-seen cellulose nitrate negatives documenting the life of Antarctic explorers 100 years back. Preserved in a block of ice, these negatives surprisingly lived up to our days to shine a light on the Antarctic heroic era and the landscape itself. After being frozen for a century, the negatives had to be gently restored by firstly separating one from another, then cleaning, removing the mold, and consolidating the cellulose nitrate image layers. Only after this painstaking process, they were turned into digital positives. As stated in the media release by the Trust, the box of photographs was probably left in Captain Scott's hut by Ernest Shackleton's 1914 to 1917 Ross Sea Party, an expedition that was stranded after their ship floated away to the sea during a massive blizzard. The group was finally rescued, but only after 3 men were already lost. Detroit's Roosevelt Warehouse was burned, abandoned, and the site of a body frozen in ice. Also known as the Detroit Public Schools Book Depository, the Roosevelt Warehouse was first used as a post office, with the vehicle repair facility still across the street. The man, 56-year-old Johnny Redding, was found frozen in ice at the bottom of an elevator shaft in January 2009, with just his legs sticking out. He was discovered by some young adults playing ice hockey in the basement of the building. Wayne County Medical Examiner said he died from a drug overdose. He had died roughly a month before. Either he was pushed or he fell down the open elevator shaft into 5 feet of water, later turned frozen by the weather.